With the economy these days, it's all housing.
The Dan Yorke State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Takeo Comfort Solutions.
You know, during the winter we talk a lot about the homeless challenges, but I will tell you the housing sector, well, I don't have to tell you anything. I think everybody who has been paying attention to the economy, to their own situations in their own homes, people of my generation who are thinking about downsizing and figuring out, guess what, I could sell and make a lot of money and I don't know where I'm going because I don't know how to buy anything because everything is too expensive. We feel like we're chasing our tails. The young people can't figure out how to afford rent or buy anything, and if they do, it's high risk with very little money down. And of course, we've traversed the saga of the homeless population, and all of us want, and I think all of us have a sentiment to make sure that everybody is okay, but getting it done is hard. So the governor made a move in the housing arena, and I have to tell you that I think the housing story is so important that when this announcement was made, you'd think, for crying out loud, there was a change in the presidency. Here's how 12 News handled it.
This is 12 News Now. I'm Adriana Rosas Rivera. Governor Dan McKee has named a new housing secretary after Josh Zaw resigned last week. He's tapped former Secretary of Commerce Stefan Pryor to lead the department and will be nominating him as well to chair the board of Rhode Island Housing. Now, last year, Pryor stepped down as Commerce Secretary to run against former Central Falls Mayor James DYSOM to become the state's next general treasurer. He lost in that race. Now, Saul stepped down as housing secretary because of criticism of his handling of the homelessness crisis in Rhode Island. We'll be tracking the story on WPRI.com and coming up on 12 News.
You ever been breaking news?
No, never before.
Did you know you were breaking news?
Hopefully we don't break anything worse than news, but the goal is actually to repair the situation.
You know, listen, it was a big to-do because in the middle of the news cycle at that time, only really weeks ago, there's a challenge with housing leadership. And,
that's right.
Let's not go backwards. Let's go forward. But it was a big to-do for Governor McKee because he needed to get a hold of this thing,
right,
and look like he was not only in charge but moving forward. And you seem to have impressed him in the transition. So let's go backwards. Welcome, by the way.
Thank you.
It's great
nice
to have
be
you.
With you,
we'll get to some nitty-gritty issues, but why don't we spend a couple of minutes on the travel of your arrival as housing secretary?
Of course.
You were running commerce for Governor Raimondo, and I think you had a unique impact on Governor McKee in transition. I mean, that's a muddied water for him to be wading through.
Right.
And I don't think it's any secret that Governor and I have a pretty good relationship, and oftentimes he would be in my ear saying, "This guy Pryor knows what he's doing." I'd be going, "Pryor?" But no, seriously, you impressed him. You won his confidence. Then you decided to run for office.
Yes.
What was that all about?
What was that all about?
Pretty close, actually. You didn't have any money. You were late into the game.
That's right. That's right. And it was a real privilege to do. I enjoyed every minute of it. And first, let me say it was a terrific experience going through the transition with Governor McKee. It was very positive. I think both of us wondered how would we get along. I had worked with Governor Raimondo from the front, the beginning of her administration to the very end. Lieutenant Governor McKee and I had worked together, and very favorably, because we see eye to eye on small business and helping create a better business climate for all business. So we had worked together while I was in the cabinet. And it's no secret that wasn't true across the whole Raimondo administration. It just wasn't true for whatever set of reasons. And we built upon that, and we ended up working in a splendid manner during the long transition of his first term, the first portion of his service as governor. And Governor McKee and I were able to get a lot going. We were able to support small businesses through the latter portion of COVID with reopening the economy with direct assistance in the form of financing and a lot more. We were able to get some big projects going, like the new bioscience lab at the 195 land, like the East Providence waterfront, the South Key project in support of offshore wind, like the new Amazon complex in Johnston. You get the idea. Governor McKee and I worked very closely together, starting with small business, but across the economy. And I think we learned that we know how to move on things
But you
together.
had an itch to scratch, it seemed. You weren't really necessarily tied in. It seems to me like you gave maximum effort during the transition, but you had an eye on running for office and for the treasurer's office. Remind everybody why you ran for treasurer.
Absolutely. I thought it was very important that we keep the economy going, and I wanted to find the right way to serve, in the optimal way and in the way that I could give my greatest contribution. And at that point, it was unclear who would become treasurer. And that office is very important, and I think it's underutilized, Dan. I think that office can be used to keep our state finances stable by ensuring that the pension fund is not a drain on the state's finances, that it's managed well, and that the overall financial apparatus of the state is both organized and undertaken in the right way. And then I thought you could use that platform to do more in concert with Governor McKee, in concert with the governor, to boost the economy, and continue to have ideas there.
So it's more, when you ran, was it more, we talked about this during the campaign, obviously, but now that in retrospect, do you really believe it was more of a motive of project versus position?
Yes. Yeah, I think that it was part of the project in the sense.
You didn't grow up wanting to be elected to a statewide office position.
No, and
you've been a bureaucrat all your life.
I have. I've been in appointed office, and I've been proud to serve in that way. And by the way, have never schemed to obtain my next job. This is another example, living proof here as the housing guy. Obviously didn't aspire for that, had no idea that the vacancy would occur. I've always worked vigorously and in service of elected officials to get the job done and to advance my community. And I have such pride in Rhode Island. I think we're on a roll. Finally, economically, we've emerged from the COVID downturn as one of the strongest recovering states in the country.
Cross your fingers with whatever might be coming with interest rate pressures and all of that.
Totally. We can't. Your point is the point. We can't rest on those laurels. Yeah. We can't just assume.
And we can't operate independently either, right? So, and we're also, Rhode Island's challenge is, first in, last out in terms of economic challenge.
Exactly. Dan.
Your work at Commerce has, helped to put a dent in that. But what's interesting about your gig is I don't think I ever, in the last couple of years, nor going forward, that there has been or will be a project that is deemed economic development that doesn't have a housing component to it.
You know it.
So it's all connected. It's like, hey, yeah, we're going to build this stadium, and by the way, there's housing. We're going to do this, and we're going to bring all this business in, and oh, by the way, there's housing.
Yes.
That's from the top end in terms of development. Then there's the nitty-gritty work of making sure that people aren't sleeping in tents and freezing on the Esplanade.
Exactly.
So you got a big job. When we come back, we're going to get into what this big job is all about. Stay with us. So example, day 2, meaning first full day, the governor introduced the secretary, and here's how that went.
Governor Dan McKee and Housing Secretary Stefan Pryor on his second day on the job, spending their Tuesday afternoon touring King Street Commons, a new 62-unit affordable housing development on King Street in Providence.
We're here today to not only recognize the work that's being done here, but also to recognize the work that is going to be done in the state of Rhode Island over the next several years.
McKee says creating more housing like this is top of mind for the state's municipal leaders.
I don't believe there's a community in the state of Rhode Island that does not want to do its part.
Stefan Pryor, at his first formal event since taking over as Secretary of Housing, said while there are enormous challenges ahead, this is a moment of opportunity.
Obviously, we didn't wish for the challenges that our state faces on the housing front, but it has produced that mandate, and we must seize the moment.
Pryor says housing in the state has long been under-resourced, but now resources are being applied to the task to the tune of $250 million.
That's a lot of money. It's also not sufficient.
He said in this role, his focus will be on housing protection and affordability, creating a coherent system within the housing department and addressing the homelessness crisis, saying while the state has expanded shelters and warming centers, it's not enough.
Rhode Island is united with the conviction that we do more to produce housing at every income level, and that in doing so, we protect the vulnerable, including individuals and families who are experiencing homelessness.
You know, that news package, I think, in part tells the story. I mean, there's development stuff, and then there's the homeless stuff. So let's go to the homeless stuff first.
Sure.
We cannot live in triage any longer.
Correct.
What's up? What are you doing?
You're right to express it that way. We do need to stand up more emergency solutions. What does that mean? Shelters and warming centers. We need some more of those to make sure that our unsheltered brothers and sisters can come in from the cold, can come in from the heat. We need that. But we need to build towards a world where, at least in Rhode Island, there's permanent housing available to folks, especially our vulnerable residents who are struggling and need some services attached to that housing, what they call permanent supportive housing. So you're right to say that. We can't be in this triage mode, this emergency mode, this urgency mode forever.
Well, look,
we've got to get out of it. But it's going to take us some time.
Look, you'll never get out of, you know, Jesus said there will always be the poor. There will always be people who are falling out of the system. The point is they shouldn't be freezing to death.
That's right.
And or they shouldn't be unhealthy. And I don't think the sentiment of the general public is for that to happen. Mm-hmm. So I think this thing, the details and the work are immense, but I think the solutions are fairly simple. You've got to have overnight capacity that is sufficient for the projection of economic cycles.
Right.
You've got to have transitional housing to move them from here to here with subsidy. And then you've got to have affordable housing for people who are working for a living to buy. And then you have to have economic development with really cool housing for people who have bucks to invest. Isn't it more or less that simple?
It is. And it's those different components are interrelated. Those categories are spot on.
And maybe you'll have a story that someone moves from phase 1 to phase 4 someday. And you can showcase that.
That's America.
What happened this morning? We're taping on Thursday. You know, can I throw you an audible, Alex? Can you give me the speaker's video for a second? Thank you. I just wanted, because I think this is part of the connection.
Yes, it is.
This project happened, and all solutions to housing happens only one way, with a collaborative effort. Comes from the state, comes from the private foundation, comes from the city, comes from Rhode Island Housing. I want to recognize our new Secretary of Housing. I'm so excited to continue the work that I started in my first 2 years as Speaker with Secretary Pryor. He has hit the ground running. He has taken that same ability to get things done through state government, which is not an easy thing, and applied it to the housing, and I look forward to working with him.
He didn't mention whether he's running for Congress, did he?
Not today.
Okay, well, all you guys are always thinking about something. That was in Warwick today. Utilization of about $1.5 million of bond revenue that's already passed and existed.
Yes.
But that
for permanent housing.
It seems to me that this is Crossroads, as everybody knows, is an overnight shelter organization primarily.
Yes, it is, and that's how they're known. So they're branching out.
To do what?
And they're building permanent housing units for formerly homeless individuals and families.
In Warwick this time.
Yes, in Warwick this time, because they know that that is the long-term solution. You're right, there will always be people who are on the wrong side of an economic cycle, who are experiencing a fire that takes out their home, and they're without a shelter. So these things will continue to happen, whether because of the economy or other unforeseen events. But
so we have to have emergency solutions at some level, but we need more affordable housing, some of the affordable housing attached to services to help folks who have behavioral health or mental health challenges that they're overcoming. There are complexities in their family. There are substance use and abuse issues. We need to make sure that we help folks get on track. So Crossroads, bless them, they realize that, and in recognizing it, they're building this kind of housing stock. We need to do more of it.
Building with taxpayer dough.
With some, yes, and private market capital too, but yes, with public investment, big time.
What's the ratio on that particular project?
I don't know. I'm going to be getting into exactly what it takes to get more of this stuff going.
It seems to me, Mr. Secretary, that one of the challenges is that I don't believe that everybody in the housing sector is talking to each other and completely familiar with what each other can do. To be honest with you, I had a mild criticism of the McKee administration, coming out of the former housing secretary's effort. We can't have another winter where at least someone isn't the captain of the ship, brings everybody in, says, all right, we're going to buy 3 pizzas and a case of beer, and we're not leaving here until you tell me what asset you have, because you're on the dole, meaning you're on the taxpayer dole, versus what you have. No more territory.
Yes.
That's not my job. This is not what we do.
You know it.
We only keep records. We have housing encampments around the state, but I'm not telling you where they are because we can't. Because everyone needs to get on the same page.
Yes,
and if you don't knock some heads, there's going to be some head knocking going on here.
You are absolutely right. I mean, we start with putting people in the room and hope for head nodding, everyone on the same page. But if there has to be head knocking, I know Governor McKee is up for it. We're all at the point where the governor has said it himself. It's predictable that there's going to be winter again.
Yes.
So let's have a strategy.
We got away with murder with this weather, by the way, this winter.
We did. We were fortunate, and still it was challenging, and it continues to be challenging. And we're still, for this winter, under Governor McKee, now that I'm in place with his support and the speakers and Senate presidents, we already are starting up a couple more warming centers, one in Pawtucket, one in Newport. That's happening this week. Pawtucket's already open, Newport on the way. We're getting more going for this emergency bridge to get us through this winter, and we'll have to do it in future
the Armory, winters. I think we have a little video of the Armory. The Armory is a finger in the dike, period.
It is.
That is a development project to be.
Of course it is.
There is a contractor that is already from the Raimondo administration on board to administrate whatever development is supposed to go on there. I don't know, they're going to do cool stuff if it actually gets done.
Yes.
Point is that thing is coming offline. That is not a homeless shelter. We have cot pictures. No more of that.
No, and the Armory ought to be a vital center of the West Broadway neighborhood and a center for Providence, our capital city in the state, in terms of, whether it's athletic activities, other forms of entertainment, workforce development, it could even be an economic engine, and all those pieces are in play. My understanding is that proposal has to get fully baked, but it's very exciting to see that there's momentum around it. Everyone wants to see that. We need to ramp down the Armory facility in the right way. That's, Dan, there's 160 to 200 individuals who are otherwise unsheltered every night at the Armory right now. So point number one, it's working in the sense that folks are able to come off the street when it's cold and have a warm shelter location. So that is progress, but it shouldn't be that we have hundreds of people in any one place. We need to work overtime in a short amount of time on better.
And there will always be people who are unsatisfied and who will try to hole up underneath an overpass in Pawtucket on 95.
Yes.
I get that. But we should never see the kind of situation that we just had this winter with litigation in the courts, running people off the esplanade of the State House. It's got to stop. Listen, there's a much bigger conversation about how young people even afford housing. Never mind people who are trying to downsize and stuff.
That's right.
We have a full 3 minutes to talk about that when we come back. Stay with us. All right, only a couple of minutes here. We could do 10 more shows, and I hopefully you come on the radio soon so we have a more expansive time to
Very
talk
happy
about
to.
some of the stuff that's going on there.
Yeah.
Young people are having trouble finding rent and or buying houses.
You know it.
Old people who thought the old formula was going to be, okay, I buy a house, I pay it off. I sell it, I make a couple of bucks, I put it in an investment, and
Right.
I downsize and I spend less money for it. The
That was the old
formulas are
model.
all broken.
Nope, they are. They are.
How do you fix them?
More housing production. Now, listen, that is not a cinch, but thankfully, Speaker Shekarshi, who you showed the segment of earlier, he's working on a package. We've yet to see the details of it, but he's working on a package to make the development process at the local level more efficient and more predictable. That's how we can get more velocity on approving housing.
Here's the rub that you
projects,
have.
developments.
It's not politically
Yep.
easy because there are a lot of communities that are underperforming under the current mandates of law to have affordable housing.
Mm-hmm.
You need to change the name. Because affordable housing dictates Section 8. By the way, there's some figures about what the median prices are. Crazy, crazy, crazy. A lot of towns don't want Section 8. But the truth of the matter is that we're talking about, in a lot of ways, workforce housing, which means people who are working for a living
Yes.
who can't afford to buy in
That's
this
correct.
economy.
It's police officers, it's nurses.
Right. That's what
it's
workforce means,
teachers.
correct?
You know it.
Right.
And we need more housing for, it's the missing middle, it's the workforce.
How do you create the political will? Because local town councils don't want to face their constituents in the supermarket to say you're making our town too crowded. We don't have a lot of space around here.
I think working with the towns is essential. You know this, I know this. Governor McKee has the best relationship of any governor in modern memory with cities and towns and their leaders. We need to capitalize on that. My first day on the job 3.5 weeks ago, I met with the League of Cities and Towns. Ernie Almonte, thank you, Ernie. And we started working on what are cities and towns interested in building. Then we brought 25 communities into one room, into one conference room. We went around the room and said, what are you interested in building? They told us what they've already got in the pipeline, what's already in the ground, and what they need help with. We can start with a coalition of the willing, with what folks actually want to get done. And I think once we build confidence and residents see that their neighbors are coming in, it's good. It's building the tax base. It's adding new amenities and assets to a city or town. We can build upon that.
All right. It feels simple. You got a big task. Good luck with it.
Thank you, sir.
We'll talk a lot.
Appreciate it, Dan. I look forward to that.
Housing Secretary Stefan Pryor. Be right back for fun. I appreciate the Secretary's confidence that bang, 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 bang. Actually, it feels like bang, 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 bang. The devil's in the bang, 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 bang. So we'll spend a lot more attention on housing as we go, because it is the economic challenge of this new time. Have a great week. We'll talk to you tomorrow and on the radio on WPRI and next week here. Bye.